I'm just amazed. I mean, Victoria was incredible, and it just grows and gets, not that Victoria wasn't great, this is just better and better and better, and I just want to travel with you, okay? So, forget the States. I'm moving to Canada, by the way. So, and just as a side note, so I live in an area, Northern Virginia. It's called Leesburg, Virginia. It's just outside of Washington, D.C. And I feel like I have to say, don't hold that against me. I don't know why. I just constantly feel like, don't hold that against me. I just live there. So, let me start by saying this. So, if I asked you all to make a list, top 10 list of your priorities, how many would say number one would be your family, right? By raise of hand, show of hands. Probably top one, right? Job, partner, significant other. How many of you would put you first? Not bad, not bad, good. Because if you think about it, you should be the first one on your list. When you make a list of your priorities, you should be the very first person on your list. For no other reason, because if you take care of yourself, we as women take care of ourselves, we show up better for everybody else. Without us being top on our list, we're not going to show up for everybody else. So we work all the time in balancing work, life, relationships, right? Every day. And it's always a challenge, right? And sometimes when I say put your name first on the list, people are like, you hesitate because is that being cocky? Are we being selfish? You know, like, what does that look like? Why does it have to feel selfish? It's not being selfish, it's being real. And I know because that was me. So let me take you back a little bit and tell you about me. For most of my life, I never used my voice. I grew up outside of New York City, and I was the youngest of three. I had two older brothers, and I grew up in a great family, but it was very kind of close, tight. We didn't really talk about things, but I was the only girl, so, you know, Robin was protected. I actually didn't speak till almost 4 years old because all I had to do was point for something, and everybody ran and got it for me. Cute, that's true, but I lived in this environment where I never spoke up. Everything I did what I thought people expected me to do. I did it for them. I always strived to do the best. You know, I was a decent student and so forth, but I never asked myself, what do I want to do, first of all, and second of all, then I never expressed what I wanted to do, even if I thought about what I wanted to do. As life went on, I went to school in Ohio, which, if any of you are familiar, I went from New York City to Ohio. So, major culture shock. So take a very shy, introverted child and then move to culture shock and just become more shy and introverted. It's really not a good mix altogether, you know. But, so I went through school. I was gonna go into med school. I didn't get into med school, so I should go to grad school. That's what my parents said. Okay, so I got this degree in molecular genetics. I like science, but okay. But I really went through struggling how to find my voice. And it wasn't until I was living alone in grad school in the city of Cleveland, Ohio, where it was like, okay, either you're gonna get outside and learn to talk to people, or you're gonna sit in an apartment for the rest of your life. So, you know, A or B. So I chose to try and do A and get outside and start communicating with people. In that time, my mother took ill and passed away at 53. I was 21 at the time. And for me, as soon as I started to use my voice, then I lost my mom. And she was really the only one who I did communicate with. So that shut me down right away, because at that age, right, who was gonna give me those lessons? Like, she never told me about anything, like what to expect in life, what are the boxes. So I kind of figured, okay, well, I'll just check the boxes. Got my degree, of course I had to finish my degree, and met my husband-to-be, and ended up moving towards Washington, D.C., because that's where he was. I got to get out of Washington, D.C., by the way, just letting you know. I am getting out of there soon. I will. But so in order to do that, I would just check the box. I was 21, 22, 23, moved down to be with the guy, chase the guy. I always tell people, don't go to my younger clients, please don't go chase the guy. I chased the guy. And we got married and started to raise a family, and life is great. I have 3 beautiful children, 21, 23, and 26. My daughter, I have 2 boys and a girl. My daughter's 21 now, and life is great. So the facade was great. I got to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom. I kept a great home. Kids were happy. My husband went to work. Everything looked great. Sports, dog, cat, the whole 9 yards. I still never took time to do for me. In fact, when I did everything for everybody else, I volunteered on as many committees as I can for school. I volunteered for every sport that the kids were in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It just kept piling up. It seemed fine until I started to really think, what am I going to do for me? Like, there's things I love. I love cooking, I love theater, but I never took the time. In fact, I felt guilty if I was going to do something, because then I had to worry about the kids. Was homework going to get done? Was dinner on the table? Then my husband had to, we do this to ourselves, right? We keep making sure everybody else is taken care of, but we're not taking care of the number one. So time rolls on, and as I was turning 50 and my youngest was getting ready to go to college, I started to think, like, what am I going to do when I grow up? And I had jobs as the kids' tuitions were going to be paid and so forth, and that was all great. But I didn't have the career that I wanted. I did teach science and math. I tutored for a little bit. Thank goodness for my molecular genetics degree. But I still was not asking myself, what did I want to do? And as the kids were growing up and I was turning 50, there was the thought of my mom being 53 and passing away. And actually in my book, Alone But Not Lonely, which you probably have all seen out there, it's kind of my story and my journey. And my goal was, when I wrote it this past summer, my 53rd birthday was in August 2017. And I wrote in June and sent it to the publishers on my birthday. And that was my goal, because it was just coming into a really weird year. I was turning 53 and my daughter was 21. And we kind of sat down and we had this discussion like, are you okay? I'm okay. Are you okay? I'm okay. See what life takes us. And then, I had all these discussions, and I still do every day. So if this happens, don't check boxes. Whatever you do, don't check the boxes. And she's as independent as you can imagine. She's in New York and an actor, and she's phenomenal. But the point is that I didn't want her to feel like when you're 25 or you're 30 and, do I need to have a boyfriend and a family? Like, no, you'll be fine. Explore and travel and do your things. So for me, really coming around and saying, I'm going to do what I'm really passionate about, and that is helping women, really was what started my journey as Navigate and Empower. I actually started coaching with teens first, teen girls, because I watched the high school years, and I watched my daughter actually, and just the whole thing about, body image and everything teen girls go through. And I figured if I can catch them at that age, then let me help them there. But as I worked with the teen girls, the moms were saying, what about us and what are we going to do? Many of them are my age and being empty nesters, what are we going to do? So I started to work with the moms as well. My point is this, is that, my facade was fine. I was happy, but I really wasn't happy on the inside. And so externally, neighbors, friends, and so forth, everything looked great. But when you're not happy on the inside, you're just going through the days, And as one of the speakers mentioned, there's only so much time. So you really have to choose how you want to live your life. And that's kind of the things I learned and that I want to share with all of you. 3 really important things. You have a voice. That's the very first thing I want to say. Always use your voice, always. I try and tell the younger people that. Ask the questions, use your voice. The worst thing that can happen is someone says, no, you can't do that, and you move on. I lived in fear of my voice, of myself, and I think actually thinking people expected things of me were more that I put that pressure on myself when I reflect back. But use your voice, use it loud and clear, and make sure people know that you're there, and there's no reason not to. Second thing is really you can create the life you want and be happy. And whatever stage of life that you're in, you have to make sure that it starts with mindset, and it starts with taking time for yourself. One, you can't look for external validation from anybody. You know, externally I looked great, I looked happy. Inside, as my years went on, I've been married 27 years now, I'm not happy. I wasn't happy, and it was kind of like, okay, I deserve to be happy. I'm an adult. You know, we're supposed to be equal partners. Time to be an equal. And so you can't look for someone else to say, you look terrific, or, you know, you're doing a great job today. If you don't believe it, you know, someone could look at you and say, I love your sweater. Well, if you don't like what you're wearing, you're going to be like, yeah, thanks, right? It doesn't matter. You have to believe it. And you really, and that comes down to mindset, and that comes down to allowing yourself to think positively about yourself. So let's talk about that lovely, lovely negative voice that we all have in our head that says to us, we can't. Now, yes, you can. And so we have to start teaching ourselves to switch that voice off. And we all have that negative voice. We all do. Some of us learn how to switch it off, but it's like training a new muscle. So start with 5 minutes a day. This is all about your mindset. And come find me out there afterwards, and I'll tell you some more tools and stuff. But start changing your mindset. Find 5 minutes a day, and this is your time, solely your time, and it's not your time to think about anything, whether it's kids, classes, school, walking the dog, anything. I would love you to get to 30 minutes a day, but if you can start with 5, claim your 5 minutes. Okay? Really, really important. And that's to think about what you want from the day, not the laundry list of everything you think you have to do. It's what you want. And be kind to yourself. You know, we wouldn't look at our best friend and you know, give them this negative talk. We wouldn't look at our best friend, you know, if they came to us upset because something had happened or they didn't get a job or something, you know, we wouldn't be like, yeah, well, we knew you weren't going to get it, you know. We'd be really sympathetic, right? We'd give them a hug, we'd give them a kiss, we'd be like, you're going to be fine. But we don't do that to ourselves. We really don't. I'll tell you about a study that was done. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. Men and women were brought into a room, and it was for a job, and I think there were 10 criteria on a list. And the women, I think there were maybe 20 and 20. So the women didn't check more than 8 of the criteria that they had, the tools that they had. And none of those women out of 20, 0 out of 20, applied for the job. Because they only had 8 out of 10. They didn't feel they were qualified. However, the boys, we'll call them boys, got up to only 5 of the criteria. And do you know 18 out of 20 went and put an application in for that job? So, ladies, it is time for us to change that. We are qualified, and that's where it comes into using our voice. We're smart, we're qualified, you gotta do it. So this mindset, and be gentle. I mean, it's like training new muscles, so you've gotta start doing this. So that's about creating your life, and you know, learn to set your boundaries. What's acceptable to you and what's not acceptable to you. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say to the school that, no, I can't volunteer for another committee. Nope, you know, I'm sorry, Charlotte, I can't make it to that conference because I'm busy. You know, well, I won't say that to you, but you know what I mean? No, I'll go anywhere with you. But you know what I mean? It's okay to say that I just can't do it. You have to do that. You really do. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, your self-worth. It is so non-negotiable. And it comes down to external validation as well. You can't look for anybody to tell you that you're worth it, because they won't. They really won't. You have to claim it. You have to believe it. You have to know that you're worth it. You are always worth it. And it's for you to choose. And if you haven't gotten any of my bands, I know we're all, I've got my Rafiki too, but I have on the table these refocus bands, and inside is my message of know your worth. So please feel free to grab one, and grab one if you have daughters or sisters or whatever. But I thought, so those are my 3 things, right? Know your voice, create the life that you want, and really know that your self-worth is totally non-negotiable. So I thought, since we had lunch and I'm like the 7th inning stretch, I have a little exercise if you'll appease me. So stand up for a second. If you want to. So ladies, repeat after me. I am powerful. I am powerful. Enthusiastically. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am enough. I am enough. I am worth it. I am worth it. Louder. I am worth it. One more time. I am worth it. Thank you very much.